Welcome to the CEO Launch Podcast.
We are a dynamic mother-daughter duo bringing you personality, insights, and practical advice from two different generations of entrepreneurship.
We aren't just mother and daughter. We are also best friends and business partners.
I've watched my mom help thousands of entrepreneurs start the businesses of their dreams, including me. And now it's your turn.
Hey, CEO Launch family, welcome back to episode 25. And today we are going to talk about playing the long game. One of the things as a parent that I probably said it so much that Kenya probably heard this in her sleep, but I always talked about short-term sacrifices for long-term gains. And so today we're going to talk just about that, about what it takes to play the long game. So you know how we do it. And Kenya is going to share her story today.
All right. So today's story is going back to the year, I don't even know, 2012, 2011-ish? I think 2012. I think 2012. So it all started when I finally decided to pass my driver's license test. That's a whole nother story for a whole nother day.
Yeah, that's another episode. That's probably a next year episode.
I'm going to just tell you the short version of it, that I failed the test intentionally. Why? You may never know. But I had some reason and some strategy behind it. So I finally passed my driving test, and I was on my way to get my... Oh, no, I did it. That's not true. That's not how this story went. No, I got the car before I got the license. Girl, I forgot all about that. Rewind. I finally passed my permit test because the driving test was a whole nother beast. And I was ready to get my car because, I was tired of being chauffeured. I was ready to be out in these streets doing what needed to be done. You feel me?
This girl.
So, my mama, being the way that she is, decided that instead of giving me a car or gifting me a car, she was going to let me buy my first car from my aunt. And so my aunt decided that she was going to charge me, I think, $1,000.
Yeah, was it 1,000 or 2?
It was 1,000.
Oh,
it was
okay.
$1,000 for a hoopty. Straight up hoopty.
It wasn't a bad car.
It wasn't a great one either.
Okay, so anyway, let's get back to the story.
So it was a beautiful little first car. I will say that. And so I had to come up with $1,000. Now, luckily for me, I've had a job since I was 8 years old. Wasn't necessarily always the best at saving money, but I knew how to make it when I had a goal. So I had been working for By the Book Accounting, a great firm. I don't remember how much I was making an hour. We had to go back in the books and find that out. And I needed to figure out some other ways to get this $1,000. Now, just my luck, the car needed something. I think it needed a new engine or a new battery or something.
It wasn't an engine. We wouldn't have put an engine in that old car, but yeah, it was something. I think it was tires. Anyway.
No, it was something in the top. It was like a battery or something.
Okay. So the car wasn't operable.
She all in my story. It's story time for Kenya. Here she is. I'm just kidding.
You're getting memory lapses over here, so I'm trying to help you out.
No, because it was something. And I don't remember a lot, and I don't know a lot about mechanics of anything, but it was definitely something inside the top of the car.
Okay,
I remember
so
that.
it was something wrong with the engine or something.
Okay, so it was something wrong with the engine, and we needed a new one, or it needed to be replaced or something like that. So she cut the price down. It went from $1,000 to, I think, $750. So I had $250 from when I was working. And I had that kind of tucked away, but I need to figure out how to get that other $500. So I decided to enter a writing contest. And I entered this writing contest, and I wrote this beautiful story. It was, I mean, even as I think about it, I know I wrote it, but I think about the story and I'm like, wow, that was really a great story. And I ended up winning the writing competition, and that was my $500. And literally, after I won, they gave me the money and I handed it to my auntie. And it kind of like, all right, so let me get them keys type way. Because
Right.
This was the last of the money. So let's go.
Yeah, that was a surreal moment. And so thinking back to that story, Kenya, when you think about that experience, because I know there are a lot of parents who buy cars for their kids. A lot of my friends, they bought their kid a car, or they may have financed a car and maybe the kid helped with the down payment or something. And so for you, my lesson to you was a little different. It was like, no, I want you to kind of buy this car yourself. So she got a $750 car, and she's talking about how bad the car was. But we all know that Honda makes really dependable cars. And so I think it was a 1999 Honda 2-door coupe, and it got her where she needed to go. So
it did. It got me there without AC, without radio for a year. It got me everywhere that I need to go. But I'm talking a little bit of mess about the car only because now I have my first big girl car and I've experienced luxury that I pay for every month. But even though it didn't have AC, even though I didn't have radio, and the radio could have been fixed. Y'all was just playing with me and didn't want to get it fixed so that I could quote unquote focus. Actually, I think that's more of a dig at grandma, because I feel like grandma either put it in your ear or knew the solution to getting my radio fixed and just didn't fix it. But it's all right. It's okay.
I don't know. I don't remember that part of the story.
Okay. Nonetheless, I was my only friend with the car. And not just in high school, I was my only friend with the car, like in all of the other programs that I was doing. You know, when I was going to Delta Gyms, when I was going Diamond in the Rough, when I was going to everywhere else, Gifted and all of those places, like I was driving. Nobody else was whipping around. Even going to Gifted, it was like, I feel like we ended up doing like a little carpool situation after we had done it for a second, but I started it. You know, it wasn't a pool at first. It was just me and my car, and y'all meet me here and we'll go there, you know? So doing all of those things, it really made me appreciate my car. Like it was mine, you know, it was mine. I had to take care of it. I held a lot of value in it because I had to work for it.
And that is exactly what I wanted her to get from that. You know, the reason that I didn't want to buy her a car is I wanted her to say just what she said, like that very sentence. Like she appreciated the car because she earned it, right? And it had it meant a lot to her because she worked for it. Like, even though you might say, oh, well, she got the last 500 in a writing contest, she had to spend a lot of time writing that essay, and there were a lot of other people in the contest. So it wasn't just like she just wrote this essay and somebody said, oh, this is good, I'm gonna give you $500. It was a competition, meaning she had to kind of revise it. And then, you know, at 16, 17 years old, making $250, that takes a long time to do when you work. And I was paying you a good hourly rate. I think you were making at least $10 an hour. I don't know, but I think one day you tried, call yourself giving yourself a raise, and you were like, yeah, mommy, you said you were going to start paying me 12. So yeah. But even at $10 an hour, $12 an hour, it takes a long time to make $250. Yeah. So that was the thing. I wanted her to learn from that experience and learn just the value of hard work and sacrifice. And I felt like she would appreciate those things going forward. And I feel like you did. You know, I think you got that lesson.
It has translated into a lot of different spaces in my life. You know, now being a homeowner, I put a lot of work into this house, you know, to kind of get it to the place that I wanted it to be. But I appreciate it because it's mine. You know, like I work for this. I think about, you know, me and you was on the phone the other day, and I was like, Bernadette, it used to be, I think it was a VCR or something weird that was in my kitchen for no reason. And I was just like, I really have done a lot to kind of get it to the place that it's in now. And it's not perfect. It's definitely not perfect. But I have been working to get it to where I want it to be. And that just knowing those sacrifices, knowing that you put work into things and kind of looking back on it, that feels better than anything else. That feels better than any gift somebody has given me, any money somebody has just tossed at me. Like, just knowing that I did what I needed to do to make this outcome happen, that is just cherry on top for me.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that another lesson or another byproduct of this was that you were never that entitled kid. You never felt like, you're my mom, so you're supposed to do these things. You always had the mindset that you were going to earn whatever it was that you got. I remember your first year in college, and I told you that I was going to give you an allowance, and you said, well, allowance? Like, I need to earn, like, what I got to do to earn it? You know, you just kind of had that mindset because those are the things you were earning your keep, so to speak, you know, all of your life. And so your first year in college, I just wanted to make sure that you had, you know, some pocket change, some, you know, walking around money, as they say, down south. That's a Southern thing. If you're not from down south, they say that walking around money. But I really just wanted her to not have to worry about working that first year so that she could get acclimated to school. And you ended up working anyway, but yeah.
Not that first year. That first year I didn't do it.
You were working, but it was volunteer work.
No.
Yeah, because you were you were on the council in your hall and you were in some leadership program. Yes, you did. You forgot.
I think I'm having a memory lapse. I don't remember that, Mom. Yes. Oh, yes. You're right. I wasn't the council in the hall. I was on something else. Oh my gosh, I forgot. I was in the leadership academy. I definitely was. Yeah. And I was doing gifting. Okay. Yeah. I'm like, no, I wasn't.
Yeah.
Yes, I was.
Yeah,
Shout out to moms for remembering stuff that you do not.
So now thanks, but since you guys have been here with us through our little crazy walk down memory lane, not so memorable. Some memories are kind of fuzzy or whatever, but let's jump to our takeaways. So I think the first thing that we wanted to get you guys to see from this is how you have to be intentional about your goals. And so Kenya knew that she needed to buy this car. She needed $500 more to go with the $250 that she already had stacked up. And so she was very intentional about how to do it. Now, let me just tell you, she says that she handed over her last $500. She was still working. So homegirl had some money too after she still had money left. So don't think that she emptied her whole piggy bank for this car.
It was more so I didn't even get attached to the $500. Right. I didn't even want to hold it for more than 2 seconds.
As soon as they put it in her hand, she walked over to her aunt who was at the thing too and put it, my sister, and she put it in her hand.
Yeah, so I was like, here, because I don't even want to think about how much stuff this is going to buy me. Like, just take it.
But yeah, that's how you have to be with your goals, is you got to be really intentional about your goals.
Mm-hmm. And I think something else, and we say this a lot, but just making sure that you can share your goals with someone who can hold you accountable to them. You knew what I was working towards. And, if I was spending my money frivolously, or I was buying just any and everything, or just wasn't trying to work for real, or wasn't trying to get the extra money, you were going to hold me accountable to say, listen, I'm not driving you nowhere no more. You have to figure it out. Like, you are 2 seconds away from this license and you need to get a car so that you could drive yourself around. And those are things that had to happen, especially because my life was changing. I was going into my senior year. I was doing a lot more organizations and programs and things like that. And then I was also doing dual enrollment.
So you had to drive yourself to college.
Yep. And that was just a completely different world than going to school at 8 and all of that stuff. I can't imagine being on campus. Like, thinking about how I was on campus before, I can't imagine being on campus without a car. Like, just being there all day, that sounds terrible.
Yeah, because some of your classes were so spaced out that you came home and then went back to campus, and so having a car, because your mama was not getting ready to make all them trips.
I already knew. I was already aware who raised me. I knew that off rip.
So our last takeaway is that rewards require sacrifice. So a lot of times we see the big prize, and a lot of people ask me, how do you stay so focused? Because I'm always looking at the end. Like I'm looking at that prize at the end. And I know that if I just hold my breath a little bit longer, I'll be there. If I walk a little bit faster, I'll be there. And so, you gotta be willing to sacrifice to get the things that you want to do.
Yeah, you gotta play the long game. The long game is the difference between a good business and a great business, and I think
good relationship and a great relationship.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, that is double tap on that one. That's real. That wasn't even scripted. Listen, yes, because it is like when you can see the end goal of what something is going to bring you, how it's going to shape your life, how it's going to change your current reality. Those are the things that keep you going when it feels like, ooh, I can't do this, or I could have had a lot of clothes with that $500, or
a lot of
just
stuff. Anything. Yeah, a lot of stuff. Yeah,
I don't know a lot of teenagers that just have $500 just sitting, and this is 10 years ago. 10 years ago. I always talk about inflation. Inflation was a different thing. $500 back then really was something.
Yeah. All right. So thanks, guys, for being here with us. We always have fun, and we appreciate you rocking with us on this episode. We will see you next week.
And don't forget to take off.
This is a Clear Word production.